Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, Fearless Freedom family. Oh, today we have Annie Gaudreault on here with us, and she's going to tell you all about herself and what she is up to. Annie, take it away.
Hey, hello everybody. So I would say recovering workaholic, and decided that in my 40s that I was going to do a 180 because I was burnt out and at a crossroad where I was not happy with any dimensions of my life, whether it was, professional was just one of the angles, emotionally and spiritually, I was running on empty. And I did a 180 and never looked back. So I switched to a career that was going to be aligned with my values. So I'm now a nutritionist, but I come from a background as an endurance athlete. So I bring in a whole bunch of different components to it because I wanted my life to be meaningful and to have a purpose. So now I practice, I've always practiced virtually. I am based in Toronto, not that it really matters. But I love and I support women, that are basically 45 plus who are neglected and feel that, there's got to be a better way. So this is me.
Oh, that's awesome. It's so funny because there's so many things that we can unpack there. But the one thing that did attract me was the endurance athlete part, for sure. And then the other part was the 45 and older piece, because of course I'm 45. So it's going to be
great age.
It's going to be attractive to me, right? So I'm like, 45. But, definitely want to hear about the journey because it sounds like there's a lot of stuff there. So you mentioned that you went through this period where you felt like you were not living in your purpose. You were not stepping into your greatness. And you felt like the place where you were and the things that you were doing were sapping your energy, your positive energy, and essentially led you to burnout, right? I mean, this is something that we have found lately to be very ubiquitous because we're recognizing it, not because it was never always there, but we're recognizing it more. And then that recognition is leading us then to take action, which it sounds like you did. You took an action, you stepped into your greatness, and then you also stepped into a space where you can pay it forward. So tell us the story. Like, how did that happen?
Well, I think that I spent most of my 20s and my 30s hiding in work because I had come from a lot of trauma as a child, and work, funny enough, was a refuge, and work was rewarding. I saw the results, and I loved the fact that I was creating something in this world, and my ego loved, climbing the ladder and earning more money and a nicer quality of life, quotation mark, right?
Right.
And, but inside I was a train wreck. I was emotionally depleted right from the get-go, but I didn't realize that, right? So I used work as a way to kind of just like we would use food to, soothe our emotions. I was using work, but eventually, like anything that you resist, it will persist, right? And eventually when you can keep on pressing it down, but if the more you press it down, the more it wants to rebound.
Yes, indeed.
And I was destroying relationships, and I was wrecked from a soul standpoint. But I thought the trigger was work. I thought, oh, it's work, right? I need to go fix work. And one day found myself at this crossroad. My dad had passed, and I had been extremely close to him, and I'd had a disastrous relationship on a, on a emotional side. And I thought, you know what? It's time. It's time, because clearly none of this is working. And I know that there's a better way. I just know that there's a better way. So, like there was enough pain for me to go, I can't just resist this anymore. Right.
Got it.
So it was the impetus for change.
Okay. And then, so then how did you decide what to do? Okay. So you explained that it was a powder keg. You really couldn't, keep the wick not lit, any longer. So before it exploded. But then how did you decide what to do? How did you decide what you were going to do as stepping into your purpose? Like, how did that come to you?
Well, I think that I was very fortunate that I had been a weekend warrior athlete, right? And I had been attracted by long distance events. And I started with marathoning.
Okay, you got to tell people. Okay, I was going to say, you got to tell us like what you mean by long distance. Because I have spoken to people who have said, oh yeah, let's do a little running. And I'm like, okay, but you just did like one of those like super ultra Ironman races where you're like, whatever, swimming for miles and running for miles and biking for miles. So you have to define that for us. So marathons.
Yeah, it started with marathons, and it's addictive because when you start to push yourself and to see, I can do this, and then I can rise up and I can, get to meet that challenge, you want more. So I ended up migrating also to the Ironman level.
Oh, see?
Becoming one of those
no big deal. I'll just do it Ironmans.
And, it's a little bit, it's true that it's a little bit crazy, but it was a gift in disguise, because what I realized is that there was a passion for health and fitness. But it was not just, I'm geeky and I want to know the, molecular structure of, diglycerides. It was interesting that somebody who had so many scars and had never been a talented kid sports-wise and had been put down so much, suddenly can rise to levels that people think, oh my God, this is crazy. So I was fascinated and intrigued by what's going on in the head. What is in the body that, gets you there? So I realized that, and people were very curious, because people were like, tell me how you did this. This is impossible. You were working full time and you had a demanding job, like, how did you do this? And it's by processing and unpacking that process, I guess, that I realized, I know a lot about this stuff and I've experienced it. And I know that everything that is, my side table was filled with magazines and books that were all about that. And I thought, I got to go work in this world because I love it. I just love it. And I identified nutrition as the field that I would go listen and study, because it was a part where I really lacked the science. And I felt that I needed to go and get, deep science so that I understood what was happening, so that I could complement the other parts that I knew about.
Wow, that's awesome. You basically had your zone of genius kind of like coming along with you. You didn't even really notice it. And then all of a sudden now that, when everything, because you said you surround yourself with magazines about, ultra marathoning and, being an endurance athlete, and you like were consuming the content all along. And, that was a part of your life, albeit a small chunk, because you were doing it on the weekends, right? You weren't doing it, you were dedicating the majority of your time to the 9 to 5, or maybe longer, because you said that you were doing a lot of work. And then it's like, oh, I could do a deeper dive. I could just go learn about nutrition and do a deeper dive.
It's been here all along.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's a great story. Now, did you have any fear about pursuing this, about changing courses like this? Because you're changing course from what you have been doing all along to something completely different, right?
Yeah, I really need to peel the layers from a personal standpoint as to what had happened to me, and really moving beyond, the pain and letting go, and truly, like a good old therapy process
Right.
where, you acknowledge what's held you back. And, because it's until you acknowledge it and you solve it, it's always going to be there. Right.
Correct.
So I
Correct.
needed to just lose that weight. Right.
Okay.
And then it's amazing because everything started to bloom from there. And, if somebody would have said this to me 20 years ago, I would have rolled my eyes and I would have been like, oh, please, what a bunch of hooey. Right? Because I'm the least wooey person.
Soft sciences.
Totally. I would have been like, don't waste my time. I'm driven. I got to get results. But, and I'm not, I'm not rejecting the path that I took, because it's the path that I needed to take. Right.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think that's really important to be honest about. But I was scared shitless to do this change because, my ego also once in a while got in the way, because I was like, oh my God, here I work and to have this great network and make good money. And now I'm going to start, it kind of
From
like
scratch.
at the bottom.
Start from scratch.
And here I'm going to be a 49-year-old that is effectively a junior, in this new field.
Mm-hmm.
And once in a while, it played tricks on me. But I will tell you that looking backwards could never be an option, because I thought, I know what that's like.
Mm.
And I cannot imagine the next 25 years of my life to be that.
Mm.
It needs to be purposeful. It needs to have real joy, and I did not know what that meant before. I just thought you bought joy,
Yeah,
It's
sure. Like this, buy a new
Visa.
car, right? You buy, go shopping,
Right.
go traveling.
Yes, exactly. And I still love those things, but I thought you bought joy. I did not feel joy, and I didn't feel happy with the person that I was. And that was the big shift. Right. But it was a beautiful gift in disguise, but the fear was there throughout the program, because I did it part-time. I couldn't go back to school full time. So I did it at night, and I had many like big cries with friends, saying, oh my God, I can't stand this anymore. Because anything that is worthwhile is going to be like that. But I'll tell you that the endurance athlete in me was like, if I can endure a friggin' marathon at 35 degrees, Celsius, I can survive this.
Hello.
So
that's for certain. That is for certain.
Yeah, it was helpful. It was very helpful.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I have to say that, so I call myself a runner, but in actuality, what actually happened was I wasn't a quote unquote runner. I was more like a pusher of strollers in races. So I would walk some and I would jog some and I'd run some. But, it was just getting out there and doing the thing, which is the whole point, right? I mean, you want to just do something that gets your blood flowing, gets you out there, gets you active. And, so I have a very hearty respect for true runners like yourself, because for me, it was so hard to do 3 miles, so hard. And I understand the mental toughness that it takes to do, what is it, 26.5?
26.2.
26.2. It takes a huge mental toughness to do 26.2. And, even more so for the ultra marathons, and so I get it. So you're right. You could do hard things. So,
yes.
So it's like that moment when you're like, wait, I'm 49 years old. I'm a student again. Seriously, I am starting at the apprentice level. I am literally at ground zero. But wait, I run marathons.
Yes. Thank God I've got something to hang my hat on. And the other part I will tell you is that I discovered a little bit later on is that you're not starting from zero again, because so many of your skills from your past are transferable. Literally, they are, right? How to network, how to sell, how to market.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was able to jump and make presentations in front of groups right away, right? I could put a PowerPoint together that actually did not bore people to tears because I had learned this skill
Right.
before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was not starting from zero. That's when I kind of went, oh, I don't think it's going to be as bad as I thought it's going to be. Because I really, like really leapfrogged a lot of the steps that people have. Because if I look at the people who graduated at the same time as me, like there's a massive difference. And this is not to boast me and to say I'm so special. I just have the benefit of a lot of years of experience having done it before.
Right.
Launching a business and like still not worrying too much about being in my discomfort zone because I had to in the past.
Right.
And I was like, this is the only way to get this company going. I just got to
Mm-hmm.
push through. Right.
No, that's great. That's great. I mean, and that's good people to hear too, because, they're going to be, there's a wide range that are listening to this podcast. There's a wide range, but in general, we all are in different stages. So we may be at the beginning of thinking about entrepreneurial pursuits. We may be at the middle point where we've been in it and we're just looking for, ways to reinvent ourselves or ways to pivot. Maybe our business was a in-person type situation, and now with everything happening, we have to figure out how can we deliver the same greatness via virtual means, whatever it is. Or maybe you haven't even ever thought about business. You're currently thinking about how can you optimize what you're doing in your career. Doesn't matter. But it's like, the key things that you mentioned is that yes, there is fear. And yes, you have to be actually step into your greatness and to actually be in your zone of genius, you have to be uncomfortable. Like you're not going to get there from being comfortable. And so I say this all the time. So I'm super happy that you're also saying this because, it kind of gives some validity to what I've been preaching.
Yes.
It's not a whole bunch of hooey.
No, and I see it everywhere. I see it everywhere with people who are achieving interesting things and are breaking new levels, whether it's personally or professionally. They are all doing this. The problem is that as we look towards others, most of us, we just see the superficiality of it. Oh, well, look at him, so successful. And look at them. They have all these things. We are not willing. If you're not willing to put the work, you will not get there. And it's massively cliched, but it's why we are at the level of our results at which, this coach of mine had said to me, you're only going to be as good as you're willing to put yourself out there. Absolutely. And at the time I was like, what are you talking about? But
what am I paying you for?
And then over the years, I finally understood what he truly meant.
Yes.
Really, I see now. I see. I'm not willing to take risk. Well, too bad. It's not going to happen.
Right. No, it's so true. So true. Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way from sign up to launching your show with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available. If you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show. Wow, that is so cool. And then you alluded a lot to your business, but you didn't share what your business is.
My new business?
Yes, you got to share that. That's what
Yes.
you're on here to promote yourself, lady.
Yay. So when I was in school as a to become a nutritionist, I thought, this is a big, big field, right? What the heck am I going to do? And I had the benefit of having done marketing and design before. So I knew I had to pick a niche where I would be able to, make a difference. And I started to look around and I thought, what are the markets that are not really being well served? In our society, we're so obsessed with youth.
Yes, we are.
We
I
are
don't know why, but we are
so obsessed with youth.
obsessed.
And I thought that's not, there's obviously some needs there from a health and wellness standpoint. But I thought the wheels start to fall off in our mid 40s. If there are going to be some issues with our health, they start manifesting then. And they start manifesting. I always say, first you get a little tap and then you can ignore that. And then it's a bit of a slap, right? And then it's a little bit of a bump.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day you go, wow, why is this hurting me so much like this? Because you've been ignoring it. And I thought there is, I believe, an underserved market with women specifically, because they're the ones who are often juggling, dualities of home front, work front.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays we also have, a triple reality with elderly parents.
Absolutely.
Often some support. So sandwich generation, as they call it. But the burden falls a lot more on women, and women are paying the price from a health standpoint. So I thought, I'm becoming a middle-aged woman myself. I can relate to them. And not that I've had, I don't have children myself, but I have enough living to know what it's like to be juggling and to start having issues. So I now serve exclusively the needs of middle-aged women, and from everything from, weight loss to getting your energy back. So many women come and they say, oh my God, Annie, my batteries are empty. And a lot of my work is about framing, systems so that people, get their energy back, get their mojo back, to live the life that they want.
No, that's awesome. And so what's the title of it? What's the
It's
business
called
name?
VEEV.
Okay. Yes.
And it's a bit of a play on word, because in French, there's this thing called joie de vivre, which is all about, like the enjoyment of life. So it was a bit of a play on word with that. So it's VEEV, VEEV. That's it.
Oh, awesome. And then how can people reach out to you? So like, say someone's listening who is like in our age category.
I hope that
and they're interested. Like, how can they reach you? You gotta let them know that.
Well, you know what? The easiest thing is just to go to the website, veev.ca.
Okay.
So veev.ca. And I have a great free gift there right now. I've developed a guide to help people right now, this current situation, to thrive. So really great strategies to stay healthy. So you can download that, and then you'll see all my information. I have lots of stuff there.
Awesome. Because I know people are going to be, it's great that you said that and you spelled it out too. I'm grateful you did that, because oftentimes people listen to a podcast and they may be on the treadmill, or they may be, out and about and don't have, access to the show notes. So thank you for making that clear. So appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh my goodness. So you took us on a really great journey. You took us from, being in a place where you thought everything was fantastic, and you were actually masking some things that you had to unpack from previous life. And then you came to that point where things were about to explode, but then you were able to recognize it and then step into your true purpose, or your secondary purpose. Maybe that first purpose was present. And then, now this is now your purpose for this time in your life. And now you're also able to pay forward to a segment of the population that really needs your assistance, right? Because we are often neglected. They talk about that invisible woman syndrome. We get into our 40s and all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, you're not seen as, the cute little person, or, you're not seen as the young mind that just came out of training or whatever it is, but you're now not really seen.
Yeah,
So,
I'm definitely on a path to debunk all these myths of aging to show that, there is so much more than we thought was possible, right? But that the media has told us,
oh
and
yes.
even the health community has never promoted older age as an age of empowerment. It's been, oh, poor you, you're getting older. Like the messages are all screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
I'm
I
on a
agree.
mission to change that perception and to empower women to, to say no to that and say, oh yeah, I want that big life.
No, I'm with you, particularly since I'm 45.
Ah, you're so
I mean, let's
young.
just put it this way. I never, like, I have no problem speaking to my age because I honestly feel like every single year that I'm gifted on the planet is a great thing, right? Because we're not guaranteed, obviously. We're gonna like wake up and be able to take a breath. We're just not
That's
guaranteed.
right.
So I am grateful for every birthday. I don't shy away from it. I don't not say, oh my gosh, I'm 40 something. Nope. I say the age I am. Unless, of course, it is my birthday has just happened. My birthday happens at the beginning of the year. Sometimes what will happen is I will forget that I had a birthday and I will keep saying the previous year. So that has happened. I must admit, I'm just full disclosure. But in general, I will say the accurate age. Um, but you're right. I mean, it is something that, we even had this discussion recently, a couple of colleagues of mine, because several of us basically got started our careers right around the same time. And so we're all kind of in our, mid 40s to upper 40s. And, we've noticed that there is an invisibility that does occur when you first come in. And for us, we're coming a little bit later to our careers because we have to go through all of the schooling and additional training. And so, we come into the career and, people are looking to us. They're like, oh, I want to help to mentor you, or I want to, see if this is something that you'd be interested in doing. And you get a lot of attention. And then if you are fortunate enough to find your niche and settle into that niche and really explode, within that niche, then great. But not everybody does. And so if you don't, what ends up happening is you just kind of flounder and, then years go by, 10 years into the thing, then, you're in your 40s and you
Mm,
are invisible. Nobody's
yeah.
asking you to be on committees. Nobody's asking you to do anything. Nobody's asking you to become their mentee, blah, blah, blah. And so we were just talking about that. And it was this kind of like, I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Like I hadn't thought about it. But it's something that's real. And it definitely stems a lot around our societal view of aging, right?
Oh yeah.
And in particularly women who age,
Oh yeah.
because,
That's the worst.
that it's just like, well, what's wrong with like, it's like, you get these comments, like, it was like, what? I don't understand why you're making that comment. Like, yes, you can be 45 years old and do a top jump. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
And,
So
and it
are
makes
you
me
going to break
crazy.
something if you do a top jump? No, you're not. You're not going to break anything.
I cannot tell you the number of times I've been told, are you sure you should still be running? It's not good for the knees. And I go, you bring me the science paper that shows that is not like from 1942,
Right,
something that
right.
is recent and that is a properly based study, because I will tell you it doesn't exist. It's the opposite. Weight bearing
Weight bearing
exercise is
exercises.
excellent
Hmm.
for women, even more so than men. Like, stop it. But like, I've been asked that so many times. Makes me crazy. it,
Yeah, it's
this is
definitely a
very
re-education.
pervasive.
Yeah, it's very. And so it looks like it's happening in Canada too, huh?
Oh yeah. And I would say that in North America, where we've been so youth obsessed, it's probably the worst. Not that long ago, not that I'm into fashion, but British Vogue had Helen Mirren
Okay.
on its cover. And
Hmm.
everybody, and I commented on Twitter and said, you would never see this from Vogue USA, to
Mm.
put a 70 plus woman on the cover of its flagship, fashion magazine. I think that in Europe, they are definitely further ahead
Hmm.
in terms of, like seeing that women can be powerful, whether it's politics or government. And the
Hmm.
examples are here in North America. We have extremely powerful women that are entrepreneurs
But they aren't highlighted.
they, you know, they lead
Mm-hmm.
NGOs, and they are thought leaders, they're poets, you know, and they are thriving even more as they are getting older,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not getting the spotlight exactly. But the
Right.
facts are there, you know, but we're just not, you know, we're just, oh, happily focusing on a different thing. But the facts are there, you know. There are a lot of examples
No, absolutely.
across all disciplines, athletics included, which is, you know, super exciting for
Oh
me.
yes, indeed, indeed, indeed. I mean, I mean, I get it that there are definitely some. So running is great because you can literally run forever, right? I mean, you can be 100
Yes.
years old running. Um, I wouldn't say pick up running when you're 100 years old, but
Yeah.
yes, if you've been running all along and you're at 100 and you want to run, that's fantastic.
Yes. Yes.
There are some that are limiting though, the ones that are more um horrible as far as like the intensity on your body. Like, you
Yeah.
know, for example, the tennis players, I mean, they peak, you know, what, 30s? 30s is like considered old for a tennis player.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then of course, if you're doing like softball, you know, your arm, if you're a pitcher. So barring those things, doing the things that most of us can do, yeah, you have no limits. There are no limits. You can definitely do it no matter what.
Absolutely. If you ever want to be inspired, I suggest that anybody's listening to your podcast downloads. There's a something called the seniors athletic competitions,
Okay.
and you will see people. 70s is young for them,
Oh,
right?
good.
It's people that are in the 80s and 90s doing athleticism, right? They swim, all kinds of different disciplines. It's
Nice.
incredibly inspiring.
That is inspiring.
And those are the people I wish that we saw more, you know, featured,
Right.
because, you know, it's a little bit like if you've never seen a female president, you never think that you could become a president, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. If you don't see people in their 80s and 90s competing and still being extremely, you know, athletic, you don't think that it's possible. Instead, it's all these images of people with canes and, you know,
Right. Right.
whatever those
Yeah.
things are called that they
Yeah. The
push, right?
walkers. The
Like
walkers.
walkers, thank
Yeah.
you, right? This is what we depict as
Yes.
opposed to no possibilities. So a lot of
Yeah.
that.
You're right. There's a lot of what the media impacts. Like there's a lot of impact from the media because, you know, it's funny because I'm kind of chuckling a little bit because I love old people because I like when I work at night. And so in the emergency department at night, what happens is we get a lot of our elders come in, right? So I see the nonagenarians, you know, the octogenarians. I see some of our centurions come through, and it
Wow.
is, you know, I just love them because they have the best stories. I mean, of course, there's some that are
Yes.
not able to speak because of their dementia, but
Yeah.
in general, most of them are able to tell the story about how they met their sweetie, or, you know,
Oh,
like how they survived, you know, whatever trial, or, you know, so it's just really great to hear the stories. And, you know, it just dawned on me that I'm only seeing the ones that are having an issue,
yes, of
and I'm not
course.
seeing, you know, and so there are a lot of seniors who are not, they're living their best life. They're not having an issue. So, but that's not what's depicted on television or in magazines, you know, unless you get like the AARP magazine. But I mean, that's one magazine. But in general, that's not what's depicted. And so it kind of, it molds our concept as a society that, you know, getting old is bad instead of it being a good thing, a blessing. You know, to have years under you is a blessing. To have the
It
ability to be
is.
mobile during those years is a blessing. Getting out there, taking a walk, listening to your favorite music, gardening. My mom loves to garden. You know, doing all that stuff. It's great. You know.
It is. And, you know, I will tell you that every time that I talk about age with my clients, I always tell them there is not enough teen China for me to go back 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. I'm going to be 52 July. I love my age. I love where I am. I love my scars, but I'm a far happier person now than ever. And I can see how I can even achieve more, right? More greatness, more joy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about, am I going to have a faster time in a marathon? It's not, you know, with that construct. It's about can I have a bigger, fuller life? And I would have never had that mindset at 30.
Yeah, absolutely. And you probably also,
Now that I'm
yeah,
living
oh
in this
yeah,
purpose, I know.
absolutely. And the other thing too is that what I found with the 40s is that you actually don't care. You
Yes.
stop
And you
like
care
caring
even
what other people
less in
think.
your 50s. It's the
Oh
best.
man, it's liberating. So liberating. Oh
Yeah,
my.
that's actually a great word to describe it.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Wow, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Annie. It's been really awesome. And
Thank
then,
you for having me.
oh no, definitely our pleasure. And so, we have a tradition here, and it is the fill in the blanks. Are you ready?
Yes,
Okay. All
I'm
right.
ready. One
Okay,
question
great.
at a time. Don't
Yes, one
overwhelm
question
me.
at a time. One question at a time.
Okay.
All right. So the first one is, if I am fearless, I will.
Do everything that I want to do.
Love it. Love it. All right. And then the next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
Being a happy woman.
Yes. Yes. And then last but not least, my battle cry is.
I think being the best that I can be.
Awesome.
Always. Every day.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. And then just in case those who are listening need a refresh on how to reach you, can we restate that again?
Absolutely.
So they can find you?
So just go to my website, grab that free gift. So it's veev.ca. So that's V as in Victor, EEV.ca.
Awesome.
And I'd love to
Fabulous.
hear from anybody. I always love connecting with audiences. So please don't shy away and connect with me.
Yes, sounds good. Yes, Fearless Freedom Tribe, definitely connect. Because, I know a bunch of you guys are in our age category.
Proud.
Don't pretend like you're not, because you are. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. Awesome.
Thank you again.
No problem. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.